Hello, yogis. Welcome to my channel, Zen Within Yoga with Michelle. If this is your first time checking out my channel, welcome. I hope you choose to roll out your mat and practice with me. Today, I will be offering you a 60-minute, very restorative, relaxing practice. Almost all of our poses will be done with a bolster. So if you have a bolster or a pretty firm pillow or cushion, bring that in. This is the only prop I'll be using. If you'd like to add in some additional props, blocks or something, you're more than welcome to do that. And I will give a few modifications or alternative uh, uh, support along the way. So if you do have some extra props, you can use those. And other than that, I hope March thus far is already treating you well. And what a great way to start off your March month with a little self-care, a little self-love, and just some yummy, delicious yoga for the mind, body, spirit, and soul. So let's get started, my friends. We will begin in a restorative Supta Baddha Konasana or butterfly, reclined butterfly pose. Oh, and before we get into that, I just wanted to spritz my bolster with a little essential oil. So that's something else maybe you want to bring in as well. My bolster tends to get a little kind of musty and stale. So I like to add a little yummy fragrance to it. And you can't go wrong with adding essential oil to your practice, right? All right. So bringing the soles of your feet together. I like to start with the bolster right at the low back and then taking a nice inhale to really lengthen up through the spine and then lowering yourself down nice and easy. Now, some modifications here. If you have blocks, maybe you bring them under the knee. You can also prop your bolster up with a block underneath or put a block or towel underneath the head if this is a little bit too much in the neck. And then just settling here, I also like to do a little adjustment in my low back. So just gently pressing into the feet, lift the hips, tuck the tailbone towards the heels, and then lower the hips back down. For me, that just creates a little added openness in the low back and feels really good. And then finding a position for the head. So we don't want the chin up super high where the neck is kind of crunching. Just finding that ease in the neck. And then once you settle here into the pose, taking a cleansing breath. Big breath in through your nose. Send the breath as far down into the belly as you can. And then taking a big open mouth exhale. And then just guiding the body to soften, to relax here. Letting the shoulders just melt back as the chest opens up. Letting the back release any gripping or tension. The belly softens. The glutes release, the thighs. And just scanning your body, noticing how it's feeling today. If you're practicing in the morning, maybe the body's still a little tight or stiff. Or if you're practicing in the afternoon, in the evening, maybe the body's tired, or it can also be tight or stiff from whatever it is you do throughout the day. And just offering this time for your body to release, letting it receive whatever it needs here in your practice. And let your facial muscles relax, the jaw. You can practice even letting the eyes kind of roll back up towards your third eye. And now just very gently bringing one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. Letting the arms soften. And once again, just connecting and scanning your body here. How is this beautiful body of yours feeling? Let's take 3 more breaths here. On this last breath, taking a very, very deep and big inhale, sending the breath to the low belly, the diaphragm, and then the heart space and lungs, letting everything rise. And then taking a big open mouth exhale. Just letting the hands fall down, bringing the palms of the hands to the mat near the hips. And then we will very slowly press ourselves up, starting with the head first, bringing the chin in towards the chest. Bringing yourself all the way up. From here, we're going to make our way into a butterfly fold, but bringing your bolster or your cushion with you. So just bringing the bolster in front of the feet, or maybe you bring the bolster on the feet, whatever feels good for you here. And taking an inhale, lengthening up nice and tall, lengthening the spine. And then exhale, folding forward. And if you have any lower back issues going on, it might be better just to keep a nice flat back, which is the really good way, to use the bolster is to hold the upper body up. Otherwise, coming into our regular yin practice where we round through the spine, just letting the head come in towards the bolster, chin in towards the chest. Notice if the shoulders are kind of up by the ears. Just let the shoulders melt down the back, creating some nice space between the ears and the shoulders. And now taking a big breath in, filling up the belly, the low back, mid back. Taking an open mouth exhale. Softening the facial muscles, the jaw. And bringing in a mantra for our practice. Very simple mantra. I breathe in. I breathe out. I breathe in. I breathe out. And taking about another 5 breaths here. And on this last breath, taking a big, delicious, cleansing inhale and exhale. And pressing your hands into your bolster, slowly, slowly, slowly pressing yourself back up. And then just resting the hands on the ankles or the knees, taking a few breaths here. Let the shoulders soften. Feeling any new sensations or energy flowing through the body. One more breath here. And slowly opening the eyes. From here, we'll come into Dragonfly Pose. So just widening the legs out. I'm just going to turn to face you. So just extending the legs out. And it doesn't need to be a super, super wide opening here, just whatever feels good. And then let's just give a little flex through the feet. I like to do this to just lengthen through the legs and then release the flex. So we want the muscles relaxed. Take in your inhale, lengthening up through the spine, and then exhale, folding forward. Maybe crossing the arms, just letting the forearms rest on the bolster, letting the head be heavy once again. And if this pose is a little tight for your body and the body's not able to come into this fold very deeply, you can always prop your bolster up a little higher. So think of bringing the floor up to you rather than you forcing the body down to the floor. Creating that space again between the ears and the shoulders, gliding the shoulders down. Taking a big breath into the belly, the low back, mid back, using our mantra, I breathe in. I breathe out. And as you use the mantra, see if you can create a little longer pause between the inhale and the exhale. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Last breath, breathing into the belly, into the low back, mid back, and then sending it up even further up into the upper back and shoulders. And taking a big open mouth exhale. And slowly making your way back up. We'll take a few breaths here at the top, let the shoulders soften. And during this pause between the next pose, just tuning in, noticing any sensations in the body. Maybe there's some tingling or coolness in the hands or the feet, or some energy, vibration, some heat. Just being in awareness. Let's take one more breath here. Open mouth, exhale. And slowly opening the eyes. And now just bringing the bolster over to that right leg. We're going to bring that left heel to the left hip, left glute area. So you can kind of just shift yourself onto that right hip as you bring that left foot back. And finding what feels good for you here. And then having the top of your foot on the mat. Good. And we're just going to do a little side bend flow, and then we'll come into a full side bend with the support of our bolster. So just reaching that left hand out, bringing the hand to the floor. Take an inhale, reach that right arm up and over. Take an inhale, flow to center, and then on over to the right side. Just taking it nice and easy here. Inhale, coming back to center. One more time, over to the left. And then inhale, coming back to center. Bring that right elbow to your bolster, making a fist. I'm just going to turn my ring around and resting the head on that fist. Left hand can just come to the thigh. So you should be feeling this in your left side body, lower back area, depending on your tightness of your quads or the knees. You may be feeling that down here as well, and even into that right hamstring. So we really want to focus on letting the muscles deactivate. And then also focusing on having the chest open. So instead of rounding in, we want to have the chest open. Taking some nice, slow, deep breaths. I breathe in. I breathe out. Breathing into the left side body. Let's take a few more breaths here. Last breath. And now bringing that left hand to the bolster to support, lifting the upper body back up. Really take your time. Let the head be heavy. So keeping that right ear towards that right shoulder. And now making our way into a little neck release. So maybe readjusting the head so that that right ear is aligned right over the shoulder. Feeling that stretch in the left side of the neck. Taking one full breath here. And then slowly turn the chin in towards that right shoulder. And then bringing the chin all the way to center of chest. Taking one full breath here. Big open mouth exhale. Slowly lifting the head back up to center. Ooh, let's release that left leg. I'm definitely feeling this. So shifting onto that right hip as you gently, gently, gently send that left leg out. Oof. And give it a little shake. My body is definitely a little tight today. This is my first practice of the morning, so I'm feeling it. All right, so we will switch to the other side now, bringing the bolster to that left leg and bringing that right heel back to that right hip, that glute. Good. And we'll do our little side bend flow and then coming into our full side bend. So right hand to the mat, reaching that left arm up and over. Big breath here. And then inhale, coming back to center, floating over to the left. Notice if that right knee wants to pop up. Really focus on keeping it connected with the earth. Big breath here into the right side body. Inhale, come back to center, floating over to the right once again. One breath here. Inhale, come back to center, and then bringing that left elbow to the bolster, resting the head on the fist. Giving a nice opening across the chest as you draw that right shoulder back. And then finding softness here. So this can be a pretty intense pose, especially probably through that right quad and maybe down into the knee. So we want to focus on not having the body hold or grip, creating some softening through the muscles, the ligaments, and the joints. Noticing if the jaw is clenching, or any of the facial muscles. And we'll take 5 more slow breaths here. Remembering our mantra, I breathe in, I breathe out. Last breath here. Right hand to the bolster, Slowly beginning to bring the upper body back up. We're once again going to keep the head heavy. So left ear towards that left shoulder. Bringing yourself all the way up, just having the head still be left ear towards left shoulder, getting into that right side of the neck. Taking one full breath here. And then gently turning the chin in towards the left shoulder, readjusting the body. And then bring the chin all the way to center of chest. Making sure that the upper body and shoulders aren't rounding forward. Draw the shoulders back. We want to be getting into the back of the neck, the tops of the shoulders, the trapezius muscle. Taking one big breath here. Open mouth, exhale. Slowly bringing the head back up to center. And then we'll release that right leg. Ooh, sending that out. Giving that a little shake. Oh, yeah. Very good. And then from here, we will make our way onto our hands and knees into tabletop. So you can just bring your bolster over to one side of your mat. And taking a few rounds of cat and cow here. So inhale, dropping the belly, reach the heart forward, tailbone up towards the sky. Fingers are spread nice and wide, really rooting down into the earth. And then exhale, pressing yourself away, arching through the spine, chin to chest. Pull that belly in towards the spine. Good. Inhale, coming forward once again. Shoulders are aligned over the wrist, hips over the knees. And then exhale, pressing it away. Let's take two more here. Coming back into our neutral tabletop, let's just stretch through the calves. So extend that left leg back, toes are tucked. Press through that heel as though you're trying to send it to the floor. Engaging the low belly to support the lower back. And really pressing the upper body away from the mat. Maybe it feels good to take a little rocking motion forward and back. And then let's bring that left knee back to the mat and doing the same thing on that right leg. And maybe rocking forward and back here. This is also good for the wrist, to get to the wrist a little bit here. And then we'll bring that right knee back. Now let's tuck the toes of both feet and sending those hips to the heels. So getting into the arches of the feet, the plantar. Maybe you stay here, or you can walk the hands out a little further, coming into a child's pose variation, lowering the forehead to the mat. Let the heart melt to the earth. And we'll just take 7 breaths here, just a little stretch for the feet. Breathing into the belly, to the back. And letting the upper body just get heavier and heavier, sinking towards the earth. Last breath here. Big open mouth exhale. Gliding the hands back in towards you, pressing yourself back into your tabletop. Untuck the toes and just tap the tops of the feet. And then from here, we'll make our way into a restorative child's pose. So having your bolster right here in front of you, widening the knees, bringing the toes to touch, bring the hips to the heels. And then take an inhale, lengthen through the spine. So we want the hips heavy to the heels, but we want to lengthen through the spine. And then lowering yourself down onto the bolster. Maybe you bring one cheek or just bring the forehead, whatever feels best for you here. Letting the shoulders soften, letting the upper body sink down. And a modification here could be that you elevate your bolster with a block or some other padding underneath. Again, bringing the floor up to you. And then once you settle, taking a big breath in to the belly, low back, mid back. Open mouth, exhale. I breathe in. I breathe out. And just allowing yourself to really decompress here. As the body begins to relax, the mind will follow. And letting there be a gentle smile on your face. Noticing the shift in the muscles of the face when you do that. And then let's switch to the other cheek. So just gently turning the head. And we'll take 3 more breaths here. Last breath, big cleansing inhale and exhale. Gliding the hands back in towards the knees, slowly pressing yourself up. If it's okay for you to just sit on the heels, you can do that. You can move that bolster forward and then gently walk the knees and thighs in towards one another. If this is not accessible for you, you can just come to sit in an easy seated pose. And we'll just take 3 slow, deep breaths here. Last breath. Opening the eyes. And then just shifting over to one hip. We're going to turn ourselves around so that our back is once again at the bolster. And we're going to come into deer pose here. So left shin is going to be parallel to the top facing of your mat. And then your right leg shin will be parallel with the long length of your mat. And then we want to focus on having the knees aligned with the hips and giving just a gentle flex in the feet. So working on an internal and external rotation of the hips here. Take an inhale to lengthen up nice and tall. And then as you exhale, twisting to the left, right hand's going to come to that left knee, left hand back behind you. Now notice if that right hip wants to continue to rotate inward, we want to focus on pressing that hip to the earth and opening up in that hip joint. Take an inhale to lengthen up nice and tall. As you exhale, gently pull that belly button towards the back of the spine and then twisting from the core. And then gently opening up that left shoulder. Let the glutes release. And we're just going to take 3 slow, deep breaths here, focusing on breathing into the belly. And now taking a breath to come out of the twist. Inhale to the belly. As you exhale, untwist, coming forward. And now we're going to come into a half straddle, or excuse me, half saddle pose. So you're going to bring that right heel to that right hip. So kind of the same pose that we had earlier, but we're going to extend that left leg straight out in front of us. And now having the bolster back behind you, maybe you're going to just stay right here, kind of bring the hands back a little further. We're looking to get a nice stretch in that right quad. So either staying here or maybe you're able to recline back onto the bolster. Another option is to maybe put a block or something underneath the head here. Just finding what best suits your body here and enabling you to get a decent stretch through that right quad. If you're reclined all the way back on your bolster, I like to do that same little adjustment that we did in the butterfly pose, where lifting the hips up a smidge, tucking the tailbone, and then bringing the hips back down. And letting the shoulders soften. Taking a breath into the belly. Exhale. So bringing your attention down into the hips, the hip girdle, the pelvic floor. Noticing if there's any holding or gripping or squeezing going on here. We really want to allow that to open up, which will then give the muscles some room to breathe, to stretch. Facial muscles are relaxed. Jaw is relaxed. And taking a few more breaths here. Last breath, big breath all the way to the low belly, diaphragm, and lungs. And then taking a big open mouth exhale. Good. Bringing the palms, the hands near the hips. Slowly pressing yourself up, head coming up first. Shifting to that left hip to swing that right leg out and giving the legs a little shake. Very good. And let's make our way onto the other side. So right shin will be in front, left leg back behind. Knees are aligned with the hips. And letting that left hip, that left glute release. Good. Take that inhale to lengthen. And then exhale, coming into our twist to the right, left hand to that right knee. Big inhale to the belly. As you exhale, gently pull the belly in, twisting from the waist. And then opening up that right shoulder. Notice as you come into the twist a little deeper if the left glute activated once again. We want to let that release. Taking 3 breaths here. And taking our breath to come out of the twist. Inhale to the belly. Exhale, untwist. and coming into our half saddle on this side. So bringing that left heel towards that left hip, extending that right leg out. Coming into your variation here. Making any adjustments to make the pose suit your body. And once you settle, finding stillness. Guiding the body to release, to open. I breathe in. I breathe out. And bringing your attention up towards your third eye, between the brows. And noticing any shift that occurs in the body when you bring your focus to a different area. And let's take 3 more breaths here. Last breath, cleansing, inhale and exhale, low belly, diaphragm, lungs. Open mouth, exhale. Mindfully and carefully pressing yourself back up. Extending that left leg out. Giving the legs a little shake. Good. And then bring that bolster back around. We're going to bring it underneath the legs. And then lowering yourself down onto your mat. And bring the feet to your bolster. And then bring the knees into the chest. Taking a few rocks side to side here. Good. And then having your feet on the bolster, we're going to come into reclined Supta Baddha Pakasana, right? Once again, kind of a little tongue twister going on. So opening up the knees, soles of the feet together, and finding a place where the calves and the ankles are totally supported here on your bolster. And maybe resting the hands on the thighs, the belly, out to the side, whatever feels for your body the best opening, the best support. Letting the glutes release, letting the belly soften, and the shoulders sink down. Checking in with the head and the neck. Notice if the chin is up really high, and just gently find a neutral position so that the spine is lengthened all the way from the neck down. Taking a big breath into your belly. Open mouth, exhale. Letting everything go. And I breathe in. I breathe out. And bringing that gentle smile once again to your face. Taking a few more breaths here. Last breath. And using your hands to support, bringing the knees back in towards one another. And then bring the knees into the chest. Taking a few rocks side to side here, massaging the low back. And then we'll make our way into a supine twist. So opening the arms out to a T, palms facing up, dropping the legs over to the right. And looking over to the left. Letting both shoulders just sink down. Big breath into your belly. Exhale to soften and release. One more breath here. And slowly bringing the head back to center, the knees back to center, and then just floating right over to the left side, head towards the right. Big breath to the belly. On that exhale, letting go. And last breath here. Bring the head and the legs back to center. Bring the hands to the knees, rocking side to side. And now let's send the feet up towards the ceiling, towards the sky, holding onto the backs of the hamstrings, just taking a nice little point and flex through the feet, rotate through the ankles. Hold a gentle flex, send the toes towards you. One full breath here. And then bending the knees, wrapping the arms around the legs, giving yourself a big squeeze, big breath in, big breath out. Releasing the arms, coming into our restorative shavasana, extending the legs over the bolster so the backs of the knees and the thighs are resting on the bolster. So let the feet fall out to the side. Positioning yourself so that you feel supported and relaxed. Taking a cleansing breath. Letting the body be nourished here. Allowing your mind and body to be at ease. I breathe in. I breathe out. Resting, sinking even more. I invite you to stay here as long as feels good for you. And I hope you leave this practice feeling relaxed, zen within, balanced, and at peace. Thank you so much for choosing to practice with me. I look forward to practicing with you again. From my heart to yours, Namaste.